Hey there, Magic Geeks! Welcome to our Google Ads tutorial. And if you're running campaigns, it is fundamental to set up tracking, because in this way you can measure the effectiveness of your campaigns. So that we are on the same page, just a few words what a conversion is. So a user sees your ad and then clicks this ad and goes to your website and makes a valuable action, an action you want this user to take. For example, buys your product or submits a form, and then this data is sent to the Google Ads platform. And in this way, you can see what ad click led to this successful outcome, so that you can understand how your campaigns are performing, which are performing better, and in this way you can also optimize them. Let's start, and this is my Google Ads account. I also have my Google Tag Manager, and I assume that the Google Tag Manager is already implemented on your website, which is exactly my case. And this is the demo shop built with WordPress. You might have a different e-commerce store or a different CMS platform. This is absolutely fine, no worries, because the implementation process is kind of universal, it is general, and you have to understand the logic behind it. And then you can easily implement tracking on your own. If you do not know how to create a Google Tag Manager account and how to implement Google Tag Manager on your website, I strongly recommend checking our GTM tutorial, which is easy to follow and you will be able to do it on your own. At least I hope so. But this is not covered in this specific video, so we have the Tag Manager installed. Now a question. What is a conversion? We already discussed that this is a valuable action you want your users to take. For example, buy a product or submit a form. Here, as an example, I have my sign up form, and this is exactly what I would love to track. Let me quickly fill it in. I will use the Lorem Fill extension because I'm lazy, and I click submit, and here we go. So this is my thank you page, and this is exactly what my clients see when they submit this form. And you can have a look at the URL. Here we have sign up form success, and we want to track this thank you page because this is exactly a confirmation of the form submission. All right, how can I do it? Well, let's start with the Google Ads account. So here we go, and this is my account, and you can see the new interface. I cannot say that I am a big fan of the new one, but I think it is important to move with the times and also in life in general. This is why I will show you this one. However, you can always go to Appearance, and here you have the option Use Previous Design, and you can go back to the previous design, at least for now. But life is always about changes, right? This is why I decided, okay, we have to push ourselves out of our comfort zone and test the new interface. And I can say that it's pretty straightforward when it comes to conversion setup. Of course, we can go here to goals and conversions summary. So this is where you can find a list of your conversions, or you can simply click this plus here, create, and we have a kind of shortcut, which is really convenient. So conversion action. Let's select this one, and we can start tracking our conversion. We want to select the first option, which is website, and this is where you should scan your website. So we will copy the URL and simply paste it here. Let's click scan. Voila. I didn't want to set up my conversions directly in the interface because I want to do it via Google Tag Manager. I want to have full control over my tracking, and I want to keep everything in one place so that everything is neat and well arranged. So this is why I click at a conversion action manually. This is where we have this configuration field, and we have to provide the details about our conversion. So the first one is category. In my case, you remember, this is a sign up form. I can select sign up. Conversion name, let's provide a name, for example, sign up form. Then we have something called value, and in this case, I don't want to use a value for this conversion action, although this is not recommended because this is the revenue you're generating with this specific conversion, exactly the monetary value. In this case, it's just a sign-up form, and this is why I don't want to attach it to it right now. Then we have something called count, and we have two options, every and one. And Google Ads gives you some hints here. One for leads, signups, because it makes sense that a user signs up only once on your website, whereas the same user can buy multiple items many times from you. And this is why for purchases, it would make sense to select every. But for this one, we select the second option. Then we have something called click-through conversion window. And this is 30 days by default. What does it mean? This is exactly the period of time you give your users to convert. Let's say a user clicks your ad and then later makes a purchase. And this is exactly this time period. And you can change it. You can play with the settings. Let's say you're selling really expensive products. And it is natural for people to have doubts, to ponder this important decision to buy something expensive. And this is exactly this setting. Then we have engaged view conversion window. And it's 3 days by default. And this is exactly the period of time you're giving your users to convert after they watch at least 10 seconds of your video ad. And you can select the time frame here. By default, again, it's 3 days. The next option is view through conversion window, and it's 1 day. And it's an interesting one, I have to say. So users don't always have to click your ads, but they might see your ad and then later make a purchase, for example, on your website. And this is extremely interesting because they don't want to click your ad, but it will still be counted as a conversion. And it makes sense to have it as 1 day because obviously people are not really interested in clicking your ads, but you can also change this setting. Then we have the attribution, and it is data-driven by default, but you can choose the one you want here. Let's say you're running multiple ads, right? And your users might be clicking on the first one, on the second one, and then later, after clicking on the fifth ad, they make a purchase. But how can we identify which ad was the most effective? Which ad led to the most successful outcome? For example, if your user clicks on the first ad and then later on the second and then on the fourth, and if you select the last click attribution model, all the credit would go to the last clicked ad. And you can check the documentation. One important thing to keep in mind that first click, linear, time decay, and position-based attribution models across both Google Ads and Google Analytics 4 will be going away. So this is the decision of Google and we have to accept it. And for now, again, the default one is the data-driven, and it uses the Google AI to understand the impact each touch point has on a conversion. Let's move to the next setting, and this is Enhance Conversions. And it says not configured for this account, but we will not cover enhanced conversions in this video. I created actually 2 videos about enhanced conversion tracking. What does it do in a nutshell? You can send hashed customer data such as email address, phone, etc. to Google to ensure that you have more accurate tracking. So you kind of supplement your tags with the additional information about your users, but we will not set it up in this tutorial. And let's click done. And here we go. This is my conversion, and I click save and continue. And this is exactly my conversion. And we have several options how we can implement it. We can do it either with a Google tag, so in the source code directly. Then we have the option email instructions to your webmaster, which is actually kind of the first option, just the webmaster will do it for you. And we want to use the Google Tag Manager because it's really easy. And this is how you can manage your tags. So let's click Use Google Tag Manager. This is where you can find conversion ID and conversion label. And we need those guys to set up tracking via Google Tag Manager. Let's copy the conversion ID. And now we're navigating to the Google Tag Manager. Let's click Tags because we want to create a new tag, New Tag Configuration. And we want to set up Google Ads conversion tracking. And this is where you have the conversion ID. So let's paste it here. Let's go back to Google Ads and we should copy the conversion label and paste it here. And we can provide a name to our tag. All right. So for now, we do not need a value and we also don't need the transaction ID because we are tracking the sign up form. So this is good. And we also have a trigger. And you remember, so when should our tag fire? And this is exactly our thank you page that we want to track. So let's go back to the Google Tag Manager. We'll click plus, trigger configuration, and this should be a page view. And I can copy this part of the URL. Great. And I don't want to track all page views, yet this one. And this is why I select some page views. Page URL contains, and we paste it here. And we should also provide a name to our trigger. And let's save our trigger. All right. And we also see this warning. It's impossible to overlook this one, I guess. So let's click here and we can read conversion linker tag missing in container. We are setting up our tracking via Google Tag Manager, and to ensure that everything works correctly, we should also install this conversion linker. Let's click Create, and everything is done for you. You can simply click Save, and even the name is provided for the lazy ones so that you don't have to type. And let's click Save. And we can save our tag. And now the most exciting part, we can test our implementation. So let's click Preview and we can provide the URL of our website. Let me actually do it from, I will copy the URL, paste it here. Voila, Tag Assistant connected. And what do we have to do? We have to fill in our form. Great. So this is my thank you page, and let's have a look what we have here. And you can see tags fired, Google Ads conversion sign up form. Well done. So this means that you set up your conversion correctly, and we can now go back to Google Tag Manager and we can publish the container. You can also provide the version name, for example, sign up conversion, or any name you want. And it's good to establish a proper naming convention, especially if there are many people working on the project. So this is just an example, and let's hit publish. And voila. So we implemented our first conversion. Well done. If we go back to Google Ads, you can simply click done and you should see your conversion here. For now, the status is unverified because you have to fire your tag. And then in order to start counting the conversions, a user must click on your ad and then submit this form. So this is how it works. But later, unverified should change to no recent conversions. So this would mean that it is working technically, but no one has clicked your ad and converted. Great, and this was the first part of our ads conversion tracking tutorial. And now we're moving to the second one. And this one is a bit more advanced, and we will take it up a notch by adding dynamic values. Here comes the drum roll. Well, what do I mean by adding the dynamic values? Let me show you my website again, and I will close this for now. And this is my e-commerce store. And here I offer those wonderful products to people, and people can buy multiple products with different prices. and we want to track it because we want to optimize our campaigns. And we cannot simply do it statically, right? Because this one costs 35, for example, this one is 30, and so on. So different products have different prices. How is it doable technically? It seems a bit complex. That's a good question, but we will nail it together. In order to set up this kind of tracking, we will need a data layer. What is a data layer? Let's check the Google documentation. Here you can read about it, as well as check the example. Here we have book category fiction, title, and you can see the values. In our case, this should be related to our products, and instead of those, we should have something, for example, product ID and the ID, product name, address, and so on. And this should be dynamic. This should change dynamically. So a data layer is a JavaScript object that passes the information from your website to Google Tag Manager. And this guy lives in the background, and it is impossible to see this little helper anywhere on the website. So it does this job behind the scenes and passes the data to the Google Tag Manager. And then we can capture it and set up our tracking. The data layer is usually installed by a developer, or this could also be done with the help of a plugin, which is my case. So I'm using the plugin that is called Google Tag Manager for WordPress. This is where you can check the description, and this is also how I install the Google Tag Manager on my website. I can recommend this plugin because it's really helpful and it creates the data layer for me. But enough talking, let's have a look how it works technically. So if I go and click preview and we want to click connect, what do I have to do? I have to buy my product. So I will add it to cart, and let's proceed to checkout, and I will place an order, and voila. So this is my thank you page. You can see some details. And if I go to the tag assistant, on the left side, you can see an event with the name purchase. This event fires when my customers buy my products. And here you can see data layer push. Let's click it. We have event purchase, and then we have the data about our products. Item ID, item name, price, category. We also have currency, and if we go down, you can also see value, transaction ID, and so on. And we can use this data to set up our tracking. All we have to do is to grab those values somehow. In order to get those values, we would need to use something called dot notation, because we have to get, for example, the value. And there are ways we can do it. If you're not sure what dot notation is and you're not feeling comfortable with the code, I can recommend you an extension. Here you can see this blue eye, and this is exactly the extension. It is called Data Layer Checker. And if I click on it, you can see purchase event, and we also have the information related to our products. What is interesting for me is the e-commerce value and e-commerce ID. And we can simply click copy key right here, and this is it. So let's go to our Google Tag Manager, and we can create those variables that will grab those values for us. Let's go to variables, user-defined variables, new, variable configuration. And this should be which variable type? What do you think? Because we're working with the data layer. This is why it will be data layer variable. Let's select this one, and we can go back. Let me click again, purchase. And this is exactly my value. And I can copy the key, and I will paste it here, and we can provide a name, data layer variable, value. Let's save this one. And we will have to do the same for our transaction ID. Let's click new, variable configuration, data layer variable, and you know the steps already. You do remember those, at least I hope so. And we can copy this beautiful transaction ID key here. And let's go back and paste it. And we should also provide a name. Data layer variable, transaction ID. And let's save it. Great. And now we are ready to set up our tag. Let's click New Tag Configuration. You remember this should be Google Ads conversion tracking. Conversion linker is already in its place, which is good. You have to do it only once. So this is done. You can forget about it. And now we need the conversion ID and conversion label. Let's navigate to the Google Ads account, and we would have to create a new conversion action either by clicking plus or new conversion action right here, and we will be redirected to the place that you know already. We select website. Again, it asks you to scan. We have to follow the procedure. Let's scan it. Okay, I don't want to use those. I want to add a conversion action manually. And this time, this will be purchase because I want to track when users buy my products. Conversion name, we can say purchase with value as an example. And in this case, I want to track dynamic values because we have multiple products on my website and they have different prices. This is why we select option number 2, use different values for each conversion. All right, and if I go down, here we have count. Each purchase matters. This is why we select every. And I will leave the default settings the way they are. You know what they are about already. And let's click done and save and continue. And this is my conversion, and we want to use Google Tag Manager. I will copy the conversion ID and paste it here. Let's go back to the ads account and let's copy the label and we'll paste it here. Then we have the conversion value, and this is exactly the value. And we also have the transaction ID because we want to make sure that we do not have duplicate tracking of our purchases. And you can ensure that it is correct by adding the transaction ID. You could also add the currency code and trigger. What kind of trigger should we select? The trigger configuration. And let's go back to our tag assistant, and here you have purchase. This is my event. So I'll go back to the tag manager and I will select custom event. And you can type purchase or you can copy it from here to avoid any mistakes. And we could also provide a name to our trigger. Custom event, purchase. Let's save it. And we should also name our tag. Let's save. And the most exciting time is testing. Let's click preview again. And we have to buy some beautiful product one more time because this is how you can test it. Let's buy an album this time. Add to cart, view cart. All right, so this is my thank you page. Let's go to our tag assistant and let's see what happens. And we have Google Ads conversion purchase fired. Good. If I click number 67, because this is exactly my purchase, you can see tag fired. Good. Let's click variables, and this is where you can find the transaction ID, and this is exactly my ID as well as value, which is also correct. Great. If you see this data, it means that you set up everything correctly. Now the most important step that I overlooked, we have to publish our Google Tag Manager container. Let's go back to the Tag Manager and we will have to click Submit. Again, you can provide the version name or you can leave it, but it's better to keep everything well structured and organized and provide a name. And let's click Publish. And here we go. I published my Google Tag Manager container. I can go back to Google Ads and click Done. And you see that sign up form has changed the status already to no recent conversions. And we are also waiting for my purchase. The status is unverified. but it's absolutely fine. You have to fire your tag, and then you should wait for your users to click your ads and make a conversion. And this is how you will start recording the conversions. I hope you managed to set up your ads conversion tracking correctly. Let me know what actions you find the most valuable on your website. And please give a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Happy measuring!